Welcome to Painting Value Contrast with Professor Christina Schertz. Understanding how to mix your own black paint from primary colors or different sorts of mixes of colors is an excellent way to learn how to control the warmth and coolness of your color palette. Here are some examples of projects taken from Itin's color book, and we will be making today a value contrast scale. In other videos, we'll continue on with the rest of these grids and scales. This is the main work. The main work is in your palette. I love to show students how to organize your palette this way as you're learning. Have an area for tinting with white. That's the test. The test is once you mix a black, you tint it with white only in the mixing zone, only in the tinting zone, because you don't need the white as you're mixing black. You want it to be as dark as possible. So taking 3 primary colors, this is acrylic paint, primary yellow, primary red, primary blue, and mix them in a variation that arrives at the most neutral, darkest possible color. If you want to, you can get a little container and you can save it for later, and voila, you have your own black. The difference between this black and maybe a black you would get out of a tube is that it's more chromatic. It'll have more warmth. So if you add this black to your paint, it'll still have a vibrancy and life to it. Okay, in this first mix, I brought it over to the testing area to see, is it just right in the middle, the most neutral possible. The white allows us to see it with our frail human eyes. We don't really see a lot of darker values in color very well. We don't have good night vision. So adding white allows our eyes to see the warmth or coolness. This one is really spot on. It's right in the middle. But I beg you to allow yourself to remix and remix again in case it's too warm or too cool. If it looks like it's too blue, then you would need to add more red and yellow. If it looks to be too warm, probably red, then you need to add a little more blue and yellow. With this particular acrylic paint, the blue is very strong. Okay, so now on the scale, white is the 1, black is the 3, or black is the 5. The 3 you're mixing now, you're seeing mixed in front of you, will be right in the middle of the both of those two. It'll be your mid-tone. Okay, your mid-tone. And I'm just pre-organizing it so that when we bring it to the page, which would be the work that you turn in, it will already be organized. So now, here's the strange math I like to teach. 1 plus 3 equals, wait for it, two. 1 plus 3 equals 2. I know, with art, the math doesn't always make sense, especially once we get to color. It's all about perception. 1 plus 3 equals 2. On the scale, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 plus 3 equals 2. Okay, there it is. A nice light tone in comparison to 1, darker than 1, lighter than 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, we're waiting for that 4. Here's the strange math, 3 plus 5 equals, 4. So take some black, mix it in with the 3 that we had saved off to the right. Try to arrive at a 4, somewhere between 3 and 5. Once we have this knowledge, we can use it in our paintings to have a wide range of value contrast. It makes for a more harmonious and easy to read painting so that your message can get across to the viewer. And isn't that our goal? That our message may be received well from the viewer. Okay, so we have the scale. It's on the palette. This isn't going to be able to be turned in. I'm not going to be able to see as your teacher what you have done, so lay it out nicely on a piece of paper. Show the value contrast scale. The 1 is a tint, the 3 is tone, and the 5 is shade, black. You can now translate from your palette onto this page. A lovely way to organize it is you may also add tape to surround it with. I'm a bit of a juicy painter, so I kind of just like to go for it and see how my hand is attending to edges that day. It's just a nice practice for me. You can smooth out your paint. You can leave it gloopy, gloppy. In my class, I really hope that you get to just access your natural ability, but then also build upon it with some skills from our tradition of academic style painting and the Bauhaus art style of teaching. Here's the 4, working on the edges, fill in, edge. You know, it's a bit wobbly, but that's okay. I'm still honing my skills. I'm not always wanting to use tape. I don't know why. I'll use it within a painting, but on these practices, I just feel like, why not work on how my hand maneuvers with the paintbrush? Okay, so what's next? I kind of got going on the grid. I got all excited. Here's the 2. It's still actually pretty dark. If we were to use the Lambert scale, the fall off would be much later, maybe at 3 or 4 to be so dark. So keep that in mind, that our human eyes really don't perceive the dark values as easily differentiated from each other as clearly as we do light values or daylight. Now, if we were all cats and we were looking at paintings, I'd say it'd be a different thing. Clean off your brush better than I did here. I mean, come on, you see the gray, right? I'm gonna have to paint over it again. There we go. Oh yeah. Let's wrap. Please go to my YouTube channel and check out more projects like this, Carl Benjamin's single hue contrast. See you later, make some art.